Hello, everybody. Welcome. If you are just joining us and logging on, feel free to use the chat function at the bottom of your screen to let me know where you are listening from today. I'm here in Seattle in the Fremont neighborhood. Suzy is in New York and Vanessa is in Portland, Maine. So we are joining you from all over the country today. We're going to give this just a few more minutes before we get started. Just wait for a few more folks to log in, but welcome. My name is Meghna. I am the event manager here at Book Larder. We are a small cookbook store in the Fremont neighborhood of Seattle, and we're so excited to have you all join us here tonight in our virtual space. One of the happy surprises of doing virtual events has been that we're able to welcome guests and authors from all over the country. So that's been great for us. We've been able to reach more people, share cookbooks with more people. So it's been actually kind of a heartening time. So thank you again for joining us from wherever you're listening from tonight. Today we are here to chat about Eat Cool, a brand new cookbook, great food for hot days, good food for hot days, I should say, that's the subtitle. And we're going to be joined in conversation by Vanessa Seder, who is the author of the book. Vanessa is, like I said, she's in Portland, Maine. She is a chef, a food stylist, a recipe developer, teacher, cookbook author, and the founding member of Relish & Co., a Portland, Maine-based culinary design collaborative. She's a graduate of Emerson College and the Institute of Culinary Education. Some of Vanessa's recipes can be found in the Ladies' Home Journal, Real Simple, All You, Health, Cooking Light, and Hanford's Fresh. Previously an associate food editor at Ladies' Home Journal, Vanessa has also worked as a food stylist for television, video, editorial, and books, including Procrastinating, Real Maine Food, The Apple Cookbook, and Berries, as well as for national brands such as Purdue Chicken, Barney Butter, and Coleman's Mustard. She is a regular culinary instructor at the Stonewall Kitchen headquarters in York, Maine. Her first cookbook, Secret Sauces, was released in October 2017 and received honorable mention at the Readable Feast Awards. Vanessa lives with her husband, daughter, and 2 cats in Portland, Maine, where she's joining us from today. We're really excited to have you, Vanessa. Thanks for joining us. She's going to be joined in conversation by Suzy Chase, who's the host of the Cookery by the Book podcast, the #1 cookbook podcast. I'm sure both of them will get into that a little bit during our conversation here today. So for all of you that are joining us, before we turn it over to Vanessa and Suzy to talk about Eat Cool, I just wanted to let you all know that this conversation is being recorded and it will be available on our YouTube channel after the event. Vanessa is going to demonstrate the grapefruit, rosemary spritz, and the deviled eggs from the book. So if you want to watch this talk back later and remake some of those recipes, definitely rewatch that. You will get a link in your inbox if you registered for the event via Zoom, which you all did if you're here. Let's see, we are going to have a Q&A session at the very end. So if you have any questions for Vanessa or Suzy, you can submit them via the Q&A button at the very bottom of your screen. There should be a button that says Q&A. That'll be the best place to submit them so that we can keep track of them and get all of those questions answered for all of you. And then you can use the chat function at the bottom of your screen to share any comments, feedback, to talk to other guests, and just send general messages. Just make sure you select the all panelists and attendees option on the chat function if you would like everyone to see your message. Again, the copies of Eat Cool are available at booklarder.com. I will post a link in the chat for anyone that is interested in buying a copy. You can support this author talk by buying a copy from us or from your favorite independent bookstore. We do have signed copies here, so thank you, Vanessa, for sending us some signed book plates. We really appreciate it. Yeah, that's all I have. Without further ado, I'd like to welcome both Vanessa and Suzy onto the screen. We're so excited to have you both and to learn more about Eat Cool. So thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
So happy to be here.
Happy to have you. All right, I'm going to go off screen.
So, hey everyone, I want to welcome you to our little talk with Vanessa Seder. Eat Cool the cover, and I highly encourage everyone to buy this because this is going to be your summer go-to. So I'm just going to read a little bit out of the cookbook, and then Vanessa, you can give us a little overview of just why you wrote the book and all that, and then we'll get into the demo. So you wrote, "The reality is that the way we cook and eat dramatically affects our mood and sense of well-being. And this goes double when your internal radiators are on the verge of boiling over." I mean, isn't that the truth?
Yes, and this book came from a very real place, I can tell you. So it was 2018, and I was actually working during the day developing recipes for the fall. And I was also working in an airport hangar developing recipes. There was a kitchen in this airport hangar for this company I was working for. And there's no air conditioning. I know. We actually moved to Portland, Maine from Brooklyn, New York in 2011. And one of the many reasons we decided to make the move was for a more temperate climate. But we found that every summer it's just hotter, longer, and just really uncomfortable. And so it was that summer I was doing these jobs, and I was just so burnt out by the end of the day, and having to feed my family. And I didn't even feel like eating much at that point. I was just really uncomfortable. So I started cooking or barely cooking recipes to just kind of satiate my own family and myself. But the more I did it, you know, I didn't just want salads. I wanted other things. I wanted soup. I wanted main courses, desserts. I just didn't want to cook everything for a long amount of time. So I started kind of assembling a bunch of recipes, and I just thought this could be helpful for other people, because I know so many people who are just suffering from heat. And so that's how it happened.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I get so angry in the summer, and also I lose a lot of weight because I'm like, I don't want to eat. So that's why this cookbook is so good. So first of all, look at my new wallpaper.
I love it. Polka dots. They are polka dots, right? I'm trying to,
Yes.
it's almost like
Yes.
Dalmatian spots. Yes, it's very cheerful.
Here. Why don't we start the first demo?
Sure. Okay, so I'm gonna demo the grapefruit and rosemary spritz. And this is kind of like a little bit old-fashioned in terms of look and feel and taste. So to start, you start with the peel of a grapefruit. So I'm gonna use a vegetable peeler for this. Why is my vegetable peeler not working? I'll get a different one. That's the beauty of working at home here, is that you can have as many vegetable peelers as you want from your drawer. So I'm gonna use 4 peels from this grapefruit. And then I have a mortar and pestle. And to that grapefruit that's in the mortar and pestle, I'm gonna add sprigs of rosemary. So I have about 6 sprigs of rosemary here. This seems like a lot, but what we're doing here is we're just trying to extract the oils from the grapefruit and rosemary. So I have 2 tablespoons of granulated sugar that I'm gonna sprinkle on. And then I'm just gonna start grinding this. And it's gonna kind of start macerating that peel, and that rosemary is gonna kind of start to break down. And it just smells so good. I can't even tell you. It smells so good in here. So you really wanna kind of like work that down. Yes, you have a question?
So in the cookbook you wrote, it checks all the sensory boxes.
Oh, it totally does. It's making the kitchen smell so good. Okay, so this is ground down. And then I'm going to put this in a shaker. And I have about a half a cup of ice under it. And then to this, I have a cup of freshly squeezed ruby red grapefruit juice. I have 2 tablespoons of fresh squeezed lime juice. And then I have 6 ounces of Lillet Blanc. And if you haven't tried it, it's a wine aperitif. Yes, it's a beautiful bottle.
Pretty.
And what's nice about it, it's lightly sweet. It's made mostly with Bordeaux wines, but also with kind of a citrus liqueur. And it's aged in oak, so it gets this really nice flavor. And then I have a little bit of gin that I'm gonna add to this. And then I just put the top on, like so. See if I can get the top on to stick. This is a really old shaker. Okay, there we go. And then you give it a shake and you get it really cold. That's the secret here. It's super, super, super cold. Okay, there we go.
Rosemary. In the book, you were saying rosemary has a lot of like health benefits and things.
It truly does. It's, yes, what did I say in the book exactly? I said a lot, so if you wouldn't mind reading.
You've said a lot.
I have a lot to say.
You be a panacea for practically anything that ails you.
Yes.
For like circulation, immune system, skin conditions.
Yes.
Pain.
Very helpful.
I'll have. Yeah.
So I'm gonna strain this into 2 glasses that have ice and another piece of the grapefruit zest and a little bit more rosemary. And then I'm gonna top it with a little bit of seltzer water. And that's it. It's super refreshing. It's light. It smells divine. It smells so good. Oh, it smells so good.
Oh, it's
what do you think? Isn't it refreshing?
It's so pretty. Like you almost don't want to drink it.
Oh, I'm gonna drink this. It's so good. I like drinks. I don't like drinks that are too sweet. And I just like the balance of this. You get the rosemary, but not too much. It's a really nice balance.
You get the health benefits of the rosemary.
Exactly, so just keep drinking it. Yeah. Incentive to drink more.
Okay, now.
So I'm gonna put that to the side.
Okay.
And when you're ready, I'll do the other demo as well.
I'm ready.
Whenever you're ready already?
You had deviled eggs in a book for the hot weather.
Yes.
What was your thinking when you were developing this recipe with deviled eggs?
Well, I actually was on the fence with whether I wanted to put it in this book. This is an incredibly curated book. I really thought about what I wanted to have be in this book because it was going to kind of be a summertime cookbook, but I didn't want to include things like a pie where you have to make a pâte brisée and keep the butter cold, and then you bake it in the oven for like an hour. I wanted it to be minimal oven, stovetop use, full flavor. But with deviled eggs, you can boil them early in the morning when it's not too hot. And I've always loved deviled eggs. When I was a kid, my grandmother had parties and I was in charge of making the deviled eggs. They're just kind of vintagey. I've noticed that if they are served at a party, they're usually the first thing to go. They go really fast. If they're at a restaurant, people want to order them. Everyone loves deviled eggs. Well, maybe not everyone, but a lot of people do. So I created a basic recipe for a deviled egg. I know there's a gazillion out there, but this is my own take on it. And then from that recipe, I made kind of sub recipes or variations on it. So I just thought it'd be a really fun thing to do. It's not something that you want to keep outside for very long because of the mayonnaise and the egg, but it's something you can pull from the fridge. It's small, it's portable, it's a hit of protein. They're delicious, and it's something you can just kind of have as a snack. Obviously, when it's really, really hot out, you want to try to kind of limit how much fat and alcohol and sugar you take in, not because I'm trying to torture anybody, but just I want to help. And it takes more energy to kind of process those things down and break them down in our bodies. So it actually creates more heat. So I just have my eggs ready to go, and they're really easy to make. And you can just pop 1 or 2 at a time. And you're good to go.
My question. How far ahead can we make these?
I would say up to 2 days. You don't want to go past that. Yeah. It's just good to keep things really fresh.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they go fast too. So you make them and everybody eats them very quickly. So you want to see how I make them?
I would love to.
Okay. So
the first is your classic, right?
Yes. So when I was playing around with the deviled egg, one of the things that came to mind was the fact that when you're peeling them, you always get those divots in the egg, and it's a pain in the butt. For years, this always happens. So I wanted to try to develop a method that would be helpful for everybody. So I know everyone cooks their eggs differently, but what I do is I start with cold water. I put the eggs in the pot, and then I add cold water to cover over 1 inch tall over the eggs. And then I bring it up just to boil. And then I turn off the heat and cover with a lid, and I steam for 9 to 11 minutes. And the 9 minutes, I actually, oh yeah, here's an example of the 9-minute egg, okay? So this egg, it's a little bit soft, just like the tiniest bit soft in the middle, but it's just fluffy and yellow. But if you go the full 11 minutes, it's just like that. And you don't get that sulfur ring around the rim. It's just nice and light and fluffy. So once you have your eggs cooked for the hard-boiled egg, you're gonna take your yolks out of the egg. And I'll do a couple more just to show.
So in the book you wrote, stay the course, numb fingers and all.
Oh yeah, I'm getting to that part. So once you have the eggs cooked, to get them cracked and to not have the divots, what you do is you take them out and you run them under cold water until the eggs, when you take them out of the water, they're not still warm. They're room temperature cold. And then you take them in the empty pan and you kind of swish it around to break all the shells. And I know you did this too, because I saw you doing it as well. On your Instagram, right, exactly. So you break all that shells, and then you submerge them in an ice water bowl, and you leave it there for about 10 minutes or even more. And what happens is the whites of the egg, they congeal and they get tighter and smaller in that ice cold water, but you've broken the shell. So the water can kind of permeate or get under the shell. And so it's easier to just kind of peel the shell, and then you peel them under the water in the ice water. And it's really, really cold, and your fingers do feel numb, and you have to take a break, but then you end up with these really nice looking eggs. Like, see how smooth that is? Can you see that?
Yes.
So that's the goal. So anyway, so
it's magic.
It is magic. So at this point, what I do is I know a lot of people use a fork when they're mashing their eggs. I like to use a whisk. So I kind of tap the egg yolk like so. And then once you tap it, then you kind of swish it around and you break those egg yolks. And it's almost like using a ricer with potatoes. It just gets it more fluffy that way. So you just do this a bunch. You just really break them down. And then once they're broken down, I use, this is for if you're gonna make 6 eggs, which is a dozen half egg deviled eggs. So I use 1/3 of a cup of mayo.
What kind of a mayo?
Just using Hellmann's.
Okay.
Just classic Hellmann's, whatever, yeah, just a good quality. You can use an aioli, you can use like a homemade one, whatever you want. And then 2 teaspoons of a mustard of choice. This is just for the basic recipe, mind you, too. And so to that, I'm gonna just add a little bit of hot sauce because I like a tiny bit of heat. So I'm just going with Tabasco, it's classic. And then just a little bit of good quality salt, freshly grated black pepper. And then you just kind of stir it up like so. And this is a really nice kind of basic filling for your deviled eggs. Really, really simple, really smooth, really nice. So once you have your basic filling, you can just spoon it into the egg whites as is, or you can get a little fancier and you can make an avocado stuffing by mashing an avocado into it. And what I like to do, I put them in piping bags with a tip so that you can get a fancier looking egg. Yeah. There's also, I also have one with smoked paprika, and it's topped with adobo sauce. And then this is the classic, but you can also top it with seafood and herbs. So I'm gonna pipe a few of these.
Here, I'll show mine while you're packing.
Yeah.
I put crab on mine.
Oh,
and
nice.
Chives. And then this has adobo and paprika, which is exciting. And then I made a bunch of the avocado ones.
Oh, so nice. How fun. I love it. So I am just piping my eggs right now. Now I have some shrimp I'm gonna do on a couple of these on top of a couple of the eggs. Our garden has just exploded. So I went outside and I went crazy and I picked a bunch of herbs from our garden. So I have these really nice chive flowers that I'm gonna put on top of some of these. Isn't that pretty? It's purple chive flowers. And then I have some marigold flowers, which I can put on. Look at that. Can you see that? Yes. I have to hold it up. Look at that. These bright yellow marigolds. I also have some chervil, which I'll put on top. And I have a little bit of basil. So it's kind of like whatever you have around. But part of this book is, you know, just really enjoying what you have during this season, this hot season. Here in Maine, the seasons are really short and really intense. As you can see right now, it's like 8:30 and it's still light out. And like I said, our garden has exploded. So when I was developing these recipes, I really did it on a seasonal level. And I shop a lot at the farmers markets in general when I can. And I just try to buy the best looking produce because it tastes the best. So, so it's just fun to play around with these different herbs. So then the smoked paprika one, it's a little bit of adobo sauce. And I went with the star tip for that, just to make it look a little fancy. Here, I'll hold this up so that you can see. Can you see that?
Look at the plate.
Yay! Isn't that funny how we have similar plates?
So funny.
This is not planned. This is not planned. So yeah, it's fun. It's fun to serve these and everyone can choose the type that they want.
It's so pretty with the star tip.
Isn't that nice? Just for, yeah. So just, I highly recommend getting some piping bags and some tips, and it just elevates your deviled eggs to a whole nother level.
I'm telling you, I'm bringing the cookbook to, we're going to a beach house, and this is what I'm bringing with me.
Okay, that's so great. What are you gonna make?
I'm gonna make deviled eggs every day.
Yay!
Like all your soups, it's so smart.
Thank you. Yeah, well, like I said, it's very curated. I wanted to create recipes that would take less time on the stovetop or in the oven. It's not a raw cookbook. There's a lot of cooking involved. It's just doing it in a strategic way so that it's less time overheat or on the grill or in the oven. So for example, like the carrot soup recipe, which is a great example of this. I developed this method for the book where, you know, first you start with the cut of the carrot is really important. You start with a cut that's small, so about a 1/2 inch dice. And then you do what's called sweating. So you sweat the carrot and the aromatics on very low heat, but with the lid on top of the stove. And then you only add a portion of the broth. So you're cooking it in the liquid, but a lot less of it. So it takes a lot less time on the stovetop. And then once it's soft and the flavors have developed, then you transfer it to a blender along with the rest of the stock. And then you make your crispy, crunchy topping.
Talk about that.
Okay, so I feel like carrot leaves aren't used enough, and I love carrot leaves. So the crispy, crunchy topping, you take raw cashews and coriander seeds, and then a bunch of carrot leaves, and you fry them in olive oil. It takes a mere 1 to 2 minutes. And then as soon as the soup is done, you drizzle the hot olive oil topping over the top of it, and then a little bit of flake salt. It's so good because you have that cool, creamy, refreshing soup, and then you have the warm, kind of crispy, crunchy topping. It's really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would never think about putting something on top of a soup, especially except like gazpacho, where you put the croutons on top.
Right.
But a regular soup, I'd never think of putting something crunchy on top in the summer.
I don't know. I just see food as, I want it to be fun, and I want it to have different temperatures and textures, and not just be one, especially with a soup where if it's pureed, I just feel like it needs a little something, you know, on top to just make it a little more exciting. I love soup, but I will say my husband goes for more of like a chunky soup. I like any kind of soup, but he likes it chunky. So if I make a pureed soup, I try to do something a little fun on the top to go with it.
Well, so speaking of fun, you have a section called Fun with Rotisserie Chicken.
Oh, you like that section. I know you do.
As a mom, I love it. It's for every mom out there, it's amazing.
Well, not just moms, for everyone. I mean, I don't know. Have you been experiencing cooking burnout at all? Because
are you kidding?
I sure have. You know, I mean, it's just been such a weird time this last 1.5 years. So we've barely eaten out. You know, we've ordered in from a very few select restaurants, but mostly we're cooking at home all the time, and it's great, but it's just a lot of cleaning and, you know, organizing. So, you know what, there's no harm in buying a rotisserie chicken. I'm going to say this right here as a professional person. It's easy, and I actually have a quicker cooked roasted chicken in the book. But if it's really hot and you're uncomfortable and you can't even handle that, go get a rotisserie chicken. And there's all these different things you can do with it. And I list them in the book. What did I have here?
You have the green smash.
Yes.
You have Vietnamese street food.
Yes.
You have, I made the quicker shawarma.
Yes.
You have the perfect picnic, where it's just like chicken legs. That's
I know. Well, sometimes it's very classic, like a cold chicken leg that you can dip into a sauce. So in the pantry section of the book, I have a bunch of different sauces you could use for that. That would go ideal with that. But yeah, I mean, there's the chicken salad one, which I really love that one. It's a mayo-free chicken salad where you use a mashed avocado in place of the mayo, and it has a little bit of grape in it. It's just really kind of like that sweet, creamy, salty, lots of different textures going on in the chicken salad. And it's really nice, especially if it's going to be like in a lunch or something, sandwich between you know, 2 pieces of bread and you're going to be outside and it's hot. It's mayo free, unlike the deviled egg, which needs to stay in the fridge.
Yeah.
So you can keep that one out a bit longer, right?
So you say we should all be making our own ricotta.
Well, I do have a recipe in the book. I guess my take on it is, if you don't have time, don't do it. But it's so easy to make, and it's just so much better than the store-bought. There's some really incredible store-bought ricottas out there, but they are so expensive. Yeah. You know, I'm trying to remember the name of, there was this company in New York. We used to live in Brooklyn, and there's this wonderful ricotta, but you'd buy a little tub of it, and it was like $9 or $10, and you go through it really, really fast. It's great on toast with like a little olive oil, lemon zest, pepper, so delicious. But you know, it just gets pricey. So I just started making my own, and it's a very simple thing to do. So I do have a recipe in the book for making your own ricotta, and I have a gelato that uses it. If you choose to make it and you put it in the gelato, it's really, really good.
What are suggestions for desserts? Like, if we don't want to do just fruit, like watermelon, what? Mm-hmm. Do you have any good suggestions?
Yeah, I mean, are you saying if you don't want to cook anything? Or I do have some paletas, or, you know, kind of like popsicle ideas. I have a really great, it's a chocolate malted icebox cake. That's a fun one, because it's a cake that you could essentially bring to somebody's house, but you don't have to bake it because it's an icebox cake. But I don't know. Sometimes if it's really, really hot, I go light on the desserts anyway. I have a whole dessert chapter. Some of them are lighter than other recipes in the dessert book. Actually, a recipe that I love for dessert, but it's actually in the breakfast chapter, is my passion fruit coconut mango parfaits, which it's in the breakfast chapter. You should take a look. But it's made with kind of like a passion fruit curd and a coconut yogurt and a mango puree, and you just kind of layer it up, and it's good for breakfast. It's a little bit sweet, but it's not too sweet. But sometimes I'll have that for dessert instead. Yeah, there it is. I love that one. And the trick is you just have to find the passion fruit puree, which you can find. Sometimes Goya even makes it, but you can find it in maybe like higher end markets or specialty markets. So that's the one trick, is you have to find the passion fruit puree. That's usually in the freezer section.
You have a whole section about freezing fruit.
Yes.
What about that? Like, why should we be freezing our fruit?
Oh, well, that's a great question. Well, so living here in Maine, I live near a lot of farms, and one thing that we do every year is we go fruit picking. So I'm about to go, not right now because it's late, but soon I will be going strawberry picking, and then we're going to go blueberry picking, peach, raspberry. You know, we have the order. It's kind of like part of the seasons. And what we do is we always pick a lot of that fruit, and then we usually, like with strawberries, I'll soak it in a water vinegar solution just to get any mold or bacteria off, and then lay it flat, and then freeze it flat. And then once it's completely frozen, put it into resealable freezer containers. And what's great about that is in the winter, when it's snowing here in Maine and there's a blizzard, we can have like a strawberry pie, or we can have a blueberry crisp, you know, and since we're spending so much time inside, it's like the opposite of now, where I want the oven on while I want to have a pie. So that's kind of part of it. It's just, you can buy frozen fruit. It's fine. It's completely fine at the supermarket. But if you're able to pick your own fruit or get the best quality fruit, and you're able to, and you freeze it, it's just a great thing to have later on when you're craving that fruit and you don't necessarily have it.
frozen fruit from the store tastes funny.
Well, how so?
No, it's almost just a little off. Like I don't. It's yeah, I don't know. But
well, it's processed. You know,
yeah.
they do pick it when it's peak ripe, but it's processed and then it's bagged and it's in plastic bags and all this stuff. It's an entirely different flavor when you're picking your own strawberries and you get them out of the freezer later. It's just so much better. So it's just a little tip for people. I noticed that the reason I put it in there actually is because I also teach as well. And so what happens when I teach is I get a lot of questions from people. And so I do mental notes, you know, I kind of remember what people ask me. And I think about like, well, if I keep getting this question, this must be something that maybe I should add this to my book, you know, because I ultimately writing a cookbook, I want to help people. I want to teach people. I feel like cooking is such a life skill that's so pleasurable if you know how to do it and you feel confident. So that's really important to me. So that's why I put it in the book, because I feel like this question kept coming up and people would end up with these like mushy berries in a bag. What is it?
Yes. No, you're right.
Yes. Yeah. You get a clump. So it's as simple as that. I just wanted to give an answer and about how to do it correctly so that you're not left with that and you can have beautiful fruit and eat it later in the winter if you don't have it ready.
Okay, here's the story we all want to hear. Hello, Fab.
Oh, Florence Fabricant.
Florence Fabricant.
Yeah, she wrote me an email and she said she didn't normally write emails to people she was considering writing a review about. And she had some questions for me. And then the whole weekend, we ended up going back and forth. At first, I didn't even believe it was her because there was no, like autograph under the name or, New York Times. But we went back and forth and we actually got like a little chatty in emails and a little bit more comfortable with each other maybe. But I just feel so honored that she chose Eat Cool to write a review about in the New York Times. I mean, when you write a cookbook, it's such a huge hill. There's so much involved. And, and I also did the food styling and a lot of the propping. And it was just the three of us at Relish & Co. here in Portland, Maine. And it's just really, really nice. It meant a lot to get that recognition. I don't expect it. That's not why I do this. I just absolutely love developing recipes and coming up with ideas and teaching and kind of explaining things. And but at the end of the day, to get that just means a lot to me. So I'm just really grateful.
Yeah, what about your cookbook was it?
What was it about it?
Yeah, but she is a toughie.
Yeah, she definitely is. Yes. I wonder myself, I think a lot of these recipes are very local produce, seasonal focused. And I know that she likes things like that. Like she likes a tomato sandwich. She likes fresh things. I don't know. I'm not sure. Just something connected with her. And I'm very grateful and happy that it touched her and she decided to write about it.
It's extraordinary.
It's pretty nice.
So I know you love corn.
I do, but I'm very picky. I write about it in the book.
No.
So, growing up in the West Coast, we had corn, of course, but I went to school in Boston, and my boyfriend, who's now my husband at the time, we went to his dad's house and had just a grill out, and he served this corn. They're from Massachusetts. And I had never had corn like that. I mean, it was just, it was so simple, but it kind of blew my mind that corn could taste that good. It was so good. And this was like August. So now, you know, now that I've lived in New England for so long, I just wait all year to eat corn. I just don't want anything else except, I'm like that with melons too. I'm just like, I don't want a sub melon. I want like the best melon. And I write about that in the book too. I want it to be juicy and really taste good melon. It's really important to me. So I actually have a summer corn ice cream in the book that I've been making for years. It's a great thing if you like corn a lot and you like the flavor of cream corn, or, you know, I soak the cobs in cream. I get all the milk off the corn. I get as much as I can out of that corn when I'm making the ice cream base.
I'm trying to find a picture of it. That's so different. I've never heard of corn ice cream.
I hope you'll try it, but use really good corn for it. If you're gonna do it, use the best corn you can get.
No, I'm from Kansas. I cannot have subpar corn.
Yeah.
Well, I'm trying to find that picture. You have a fresh corn salad with peas and herbs that looks just glorious.
Yeah, that's a fun one. That one starts with it's a fresh pea puree. So it's almost like a hummus in a way, but you're using fresh peas. And then it's topped with every aspect of the pea shoots, pea pods. There's some radicchio, there's fresh corn, there's ricotta salata. What am I leaving out? I mean, it's been a while since I've made that. I'm waiting for the peas before I make that one. I have to have the good peas and the corn.
Lemon,
yeah, and
oil, radicchio.
Yeah.
And herbs, and what's ricotta salata?
Oh, it's like a pressed ricotta that's salted. So it's almost like a cotija, or it's almost like a feta without the tang, sort of. It's more of like a salty, mild, kind of dry, crumbly. It's really nice. It's a nice balance of those flavors.
Oh, here's the ice cream. It looks like ice cream.
But it is ice cream.
Yeah.
That's because it is.
There could be like kernels in it or something, but it's just smooth.
No, it's just the flavor. You get that intense corn flavor. That's what you're getting here.
It looks amazing.
Thank you. I really do hope you'll try it.
So if we were, what would you recommend if we were just having like another couple and their kids over out in the backyard?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it depends on the family and what they like, but okay, let's just say classic.
Let's say they like everything.
Yeah. Well, I might start with, actually, this drink would be perfect for the adults. I have some agua frescas in the book, which would be really nice, like the melon agua fresca, if there's kids. Oysters with the mignonette. I have a cucumber and radish mignonette that goes with it. And then maybe the farmer's market green and rice soup, kind of like in small cups. That's made with leftover rice and different greens. And there's actually miso in it and ginger. It's just a really delicious, flavorful soup. And it's really green and fresh. Maybe for the main course, maybe the skirt steak with the barley salad with the dried cherries and lemon pickle and herbs. And then for dessert, maybe the salted lemon semifreddo.
Now, what are some wines you like for the hot weather? What are your go-tos?
Oh, well, okay. I have to say, I just did this podcast called Grape Encounters, and I did do a wine guide, a summer wine guide in the back of the book. But lately, my husband and I, we've been drinking Lambruscos. Like there, you know, there's a whole range. It goes from sweet, you can have it a sweet one and have it as a dessert, kind of, it's like frizzante. It's like a little bit fizzy. There's this whole range all the way to dry, and it's just, they're just so delicious and fun to drink when it's so hot out, and just a little bit of effervescence is just so nice. So I like that. I guess I like drier wines in general more than sweet ones. What about you? What do you like to drink in the summer for wine?
All about rosé. It's just rosé all day.
Rosé all day. Well, rosé is great too. There's some great rosés out there.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was looking at your introduction, and you have 5 criteria. And like number 2 was, will it keep relatively cool? I love that criteria.
Yes. Well, what you eat when it's really, really hot out can affect you. So the thing is, I do have ice cream in the book. I do have some recipes that are richer, but when it's really, really hot out, you want to kind of try to have less of that, or limit that. I mean, have those things when it's a little bit less hot, I'm saying, and try to stick to cooling things, like just lots of fruits and vegetables. Very lean proteins are great. Try to maybe have a little bit less fat or dairy. And obviously you want to drink a lot of liquids, but having fat and sugar and also alcohol can affect how you feel later on, because it takes more energy for your body to kind of burn those and process it, and that ends up heating up your body more. So there's countries around the world where they eat a lot of chili peppers and they drink hot tea, and that helps them cool down. And it seems counterintuitive, but it can work, because it has to do with, there's this receptor in our mouths called the TRPV1 receptor, and it signals the hypothalamus in our brain, and that's like our internal thermostat. And when it triggers that, when you drink a hot tea or you eat hot chili peppers, that's what causes you to start sweating, which is probably it's like heating to cool, or you're eating hot chili peppers and it ends up cooling you down. So there's different ways of looking at this, you know, eating leaner, lighter, vegetable, fruit-based forward recipes, kind of staying away from heavy alcohol, sugar, fat, and then also eating hot to cool. So that's my answer.
Hi, Vanessa. Hi, Suzy.
Hi.
Hi.
I just want to remind anyone that's listening, if you have any questions for Vanessa or Suzy, you could submit them via the Q&A or the chat function, and we'll grab those. But you all can continue. I actually had a question for you, if that was okay.
Sure.
I was wondering, you know, I looked at your maca vanilla milkshake recipe at the very beginning, and I know that was your daughter's one of your favorite recipes in the book. Are there any other like kid approved or specifically like your family approved recipes that you know that you all really loved while you were writing the book?
Oh yeah, definitely. The granola bars are a favorite. Those have Marcona almonds and dark chocolate and dried cherries, and they're kind of like it's an almond butter base. So they're relatively healthy, and they're just really kind of like crispy, chewy. I have these little energy balls in the book. I don't know if you saw those.
I did. They're
really fun, and kids really like them. They're colored with you know, ground up berries and turmeric and mango and spirulina and things like that. So it's very healthy. It's like a great thing to bring with you if you're hiking or yeah.
Just try to stay cool also.
Just trying to stay cool as well. Yeah, we are outside a lot in the summer, and so I try to think of things that are easy to bring with us, that are portable, and that my daughter will hopefully eat.
Well, hopefully, yeah.
She's a little bit picky. She's just very specific.
Yeah.
What she likes.
But good food, all good food that she likes.
All good food, yeah. Yeah.
We've got a question from Kathleen. Kathleen asks us, can you please tell us how you make ricotta?
Oh, so
a little bit,
right.
And
so
you have
it's
a recipe
just,
in the book?
Yeah. So I actually have a bunch of eat cools here. So it's really simple. You just heat up milk and cream, and then you add vinegar, and it starts the curdle process. And then you just pass it through a cheesecloth in a strainer. And it takes a while, and then you end up with the curds, and you can just store them in the fridge. It's as simple as that. Some people make it with a lemon juice, but I like the vinegar because it's more of a neutral. I mean, I also like the lemon juice as well, but then you get more of a lemon flavor.
It's just that simple.
It's so simple.
I've never tried.
Yeah.
I recently started making paneer at home, which is
very
similar. You know, there's no cream; it's just milk plus the vinegar or the lemon juice.
Yeah. Oh, wonderful.
Addition of the cream makes it really creamy. You know, the creamy ricotta that we all know about.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds delicious. Let's see. Any other questions from our audience members? We'd gladly take them. Was there, Suzy, did you have any other questions for Vanessa?
Yeah. So you have some fun ideas for toast, which is always an easy thing to do. I made your grilled shrimp with herb butter on arugula toast out of the cookbook. It was really good. Can you just talk a little bit about your toast?
Talking about my toast? Well, I think when it's really hot out, I find that when I eat a lot of bread, I get really tired. So I like the concept of the open face sandwich. In general, I know it's very Scandinavian, and so I just came up with a few different recipes in the book. Like, for example, one of my favorites is, I'm trying to find the exact name, but basically it's a tartine that has a walnut pesto spread over it.
Yeah. And
then it's charred broccolini. There it is. Yeah. And the charred broccolini, so you don't cook it long in the pan, but you cook it on high in a dry, hot cast iron skillet, and it gets charred everywhere, and that kind of becomes the flavor. And then it's topped with some burrata and then some pickled peppers, and it's like sweet, spicy, creamy, and then you have the toast, the country toast on the bottom, so it's really nice.
I love that. And so hearty.
Yeah.
And you have a really great heirloom tomato toast, which is perfect timing for the heirloom.
Yeah, one of my favorite sandwiches is just a tomato sandwich with just butter and really good bread and just really, really fresh and seasoned tomatoes. So I kind of upped that a bit, and I added some really good cheese to it. Where is that sandwich?
What kind of cheese?
Here it is. It's I was trying to find the exact name of it because it's kind of a long name, but it's the heirloom tomatoes, the smoky tomato butter, robiola, and microgreens on sourdough toast. So like I said, I grew up in the West Coast, and so I ate a lot of sourdough. Actually, some of my fondest memories were visiting my relatives that lived in Seattle, and we'd go there to visit them in the summer. They'd have a croquet party. We lived on the lake, and then we go to Pike Place, and we get a steamed crab and some sourdough and berries. And it was just like a tradition for many, many years. So I do have a love of really good sourdough bread. And then it's just really good quality heirloom tomatoes. And then you make this kind of compound butter that has smoky kind of notes and tomato in it. And then there's roviola cheese over the top. It's really, really nice.
That sounds amazing. I want to make that this summer.
Please do. I hope you do.
I will. I know that it's about to be tomato season, and I know all of us are really, really excited.
Yeah, my tomato plant in the last 2 weeks, it went from this to it's just kind of taking over, and I'm just very excited about it.
It's a really good problem to have.
It is a good problem to have. Can't wait.
Lovely. All right. Well, I think we can go ahead and wrap up. If you both are ready. It was such a pleasure to have you both, Vanessa and Suzy. I'm really excited to cook from this book this summer, and I hope all of our audience members are too, because it really is, like you said, Suzy. Like this is the book that I want to take on vacation. This is the book I want to take to my, camping or cabining, whatever it is that I'm getting into this summer. So thank you for writing the book and for sharing us.
It was such a pleasure. I love writing books.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's really beautiful. Love all the pictures. I'm excited to go home and make some tomato toast now. But for anyone who's interested in purchasing a copy of Eat Cool, like I mentioned, we do have signed copies available. Vanessa's very graciously sent us some book plates to the store. So we've got those here, and they're available at booklarder.com. We do ship nationwide. Your first book is $5, so it's a pretty reasonable medium mail shipping. And we, again, will have this author talk posted on our YouTube channel within 48 hours. So if you want to go back and remind yourself how to make a very simple grapefruit rosemary spritz or some deviled eggs, we've got you covered, and that will be posted there. You will also receive a link as well. So on that note, have a good evening. Thank you again, Vanessa and Suzy, for joining us and for taking the time to be with us in the virtual book larder today. I hope to see you in Seattle soon, and have a good week.
Thank you. You too.
All right. Take care. Good night.
Thanks, you too. Bye.
Cheers.